Welcome to the session. Now we are going to discuss about random access file. This is the course outline. By using a random access file class method, the random access file can be created for performing reading and writing operations, and the various method that is used for reading file access, file classes, and the sample program of these functions can be explained clearly in this session. By using random access file class method, the random file can be accessed for reading and writing purpose. It works like an array of bytes stored in the file. The way in which the random access file is declared with the following syntax: you have to use a keyword called as public class random access file extend object implement data output data input and closable. The method of random access file classes: by using read method, you can read a byte of data from the file. It returns an integer byte in the range of 0 to 255. The syntax for it is public read. It does not take any parameter, but it reads a byte of data from the file, and if it reaches to the end of the file, it returns -1 value. Next one is to read a byte from the buffer based upon the length. The syntax for it is it takes the input parameter parameter buffer to read, and it returns the byte data from the file up to the length, and if it reaches end of the file, it returns -1 value. The next one is to read a byte initializing from offset position up to the length from the buffer. The syntax for it is public int read buffer with 3 parameters, that is buffer to read, offset value, that is starting position to read, and the maximum number of bytes it is to read, and it returns the readed byte initializing from the offset position up to b length from the buffer. The next function is to read a boolean value from the file. The syntax for it is public finally boolean read boolean. It does not take any parameter, but it returns boolean value, that is true or false value. The next function is to read a character from the file starting from the file pointer. The syntax is public file character read character. It does not take any parameter, but it returns a character from the file. The next function is to read a double value from the file starting from the file position. It does not take any parameter, but it returns double value from the file. The next function is to read float value from the file starting from the file pointer. The syntax is public final double read float value. It does not take any parameter, but it returns float value from the file. The next function is to read byte up to b length from the buffer starting read from the file pointer. The syntax is public final void read fully byte. It takes the input parameter of byte of characters. The value b refers to the parameter b refers to buffer to be read, and it reads the byte initializing from the offset position up to b length from the buffer. The next one is to read integer value. The function readInt is used. It reads the 4 byte integer from the file starting from the file pointer. The syntax for it is public readInt. It reads signed 4 byte integer from the file. It does not take any parameter, but it returns signed 4 byte integer from the file. The next function is to read a byte starting from the offset position up to b length from the buffer starting from the file pointer. We have to use a function called as read fully with 3 input parameters: byte, offset and length. Byte refers to the buffer to read, offset refers to starting position to read, and length refers to the maximum byte to be read. It returns byte initializing from the offset position up to b length from the buffer. The next function is to read long value, that is signed 64-bit integer from the file starting from the start reading from the file pointer. It does not take any parameter, but it returns 64-bit integer from the file. The next is the sample program, which will explain the each and every function very clearly. I have used import Java IO package in the program, and I have created a class called as new class with try and catch. So in try, I have declared a variable double with value 1.5 and float f with 14.56, and I'm going to create a random access file called as geek.txt with read write mode, and I used an object called as geek for creating and for accessing the particular random access file. And to write the particular file, I'll make use of the object, that is geek dot write udf. The word I am going to write into the particular file is hello Greek for Greeks. The next one is in order to make the file pointer at the index 0, I have used a function called as geek, that is seek point, that is the object with seek object dot seek of 0. It means that the file pointer at the index 0, and the read method is used to read the character from the string from the array, and the next it will reads the byte of array from the character, and next the next function it reads the boolean value and it returns whether it is true or false, and next it reads the byte of arrays from the character from the string from the buffer, and the next function is to read a character from the file, and next is used to read by using a read double function. I can read the double value from the file and writing the corresponding value on the output screen. The next one is to read float value and to display it on correspondingly, and next the creating an array up to the Greek length. Based upon it can read the particular file and it will display accordingly. And the next one is reading the entire file from the file, and it has been stored in a variable called as string s2, and all the function will be written inside the try statement, and in catch statement, if it have any IO exception, if something went wrong, it will throw an exception that something have went wrong and it will be outputted. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you. The Greek length based upon